Hello, everyone, and welcome to this webinar where we are going to discuss key skills which employers look for when hiring accounting professionals. Great to have you all here, and I can definitely recognize a few of you from our classes as well. So welcome again, and I will be taking you through this webinar, and I have two guests on this webinar with me, and I'll be introducing them as well. And it will give you an opportunity to ask them any questions that you want once they finish with their presentations. The total time for this webinar is approximately 1 hour, but in case you have got more questions you want to ask, then we are very happy to extend it as well. So please be as interactive as you can and take the best value out of it. So the agenda for today's webinar is that we're going to cover employability skills and careers after ACCA. And we have a special guest from Grant Thornton today joining us. And we will be in a conversation with them and then let you ask them some questions around employability skills and careers after ACCA. Once we're done with this, then I will move into ACCA qualification and routes. So for anyone who is new to the qualification or you're looking for any kind of guidance in terms of your qualification and routes, then I can help you in this part by letting you know more about ACCA qualification and potential routes and guidance on this area. I will then focus on Kaplan's ACCA program and also how we are focusing on careers and employability. And again, if you got any questions in relation to ACCA's program at Kaplan or how we help students in their career and employability, then I would be happy to take any questions here. We will then move into a bit of MSc program from University of London. So I've got my colleague, Marinissa, who will be presenting this part of this webinar. And then finally, we can have another QA session at the end so that if there's anything left and you want to ask us, then we are very happy to answer things there. So moving on from the agenda to a bit about me. So in case you have not seen me before, my name is Waleed, and I am the head of exam prep at Kaplan Professional Middle East. I have been in the training business for the last 10 years, and I have been in a full-time education role from the last 6 to 7 years now. My prior experience was in a Big Four firm here in this region, and then this year I switched to Kaplan. And the primary reason was because I myself trained at Kaplan when I was a student like you, and that was many, many years ago in Kaplan, Birmingham. So I joined in my role of head of exam prep this year. I also teach financial management and management accounting papers at Kaplan. So those who are training with us are going to see me at some point. And that's a bit of an introduction about me. And of course, very happy to support you and help you in any kind of questions that you may have during this webinar or even after this webinar. So if there's anything you want to ask me, I'm very happy to leave my contact details for you in the chat boxes. Please feel free to raise any questions that you may want. Now, before I introduce my special guest for this evening, I have a little poll for all of you, just so that we are more engaging and we can know about you in a better way. So I'm launching this poll, and it should be visible to you now. So I've got a question there for you. So if you can please select one of these. So are you a student or a working professional, so that we know the audience better? So can you all please choose an option? Okay. All right. So it seems like that. Okay, so we've got about 57% student, 43% working professionals. So greater chunk of this audience is obviously students. So that's on to 60 now. So 60-40 is the final ratio where we'll close this. So thank you for that. We'll move on to the next one. So this is the next one now, which will be on your screens. So are you working? And if you are working, is it full-time, part-time, internships, or are you unemployed? So let's see, what do we have here? Okay, so we've got about 47% full-time, we've got 40% unemployed, and we've got 13% in part-time roles. That's great. So that gives our panelists a good view of the audience that we have. And obviously the ones who are unemployed and also in part-time roles, you're going to get a lot out of the session. Moving on to the next one. And the next question coming on your screens. Why do you want to pursue ACCA qualification? Or if you're already doing ACCA qualification, why is that? Okay, lots of career growths at this point. Technical competency as well. Few votes on the higher compensation. Come on, you have to take that. You're all ACCA qualified, so we're expecting higher compensations as well. Yeah, but great to see that a lot of this, 73% at this point is career growth, and that's great to see because yes, ACCA does give us a great chance to grow in our careers. Technical competency 7% and 13% part of a global financial body, and just 1% selecting higher compensation. So that's interesting. So thanks a lot for that. Thank you very much for that. And at this point, as I know that we know you better now in terms of what audience we have, I would like to introduce our special guest for this evening, and that is Amanda Abraham, who is the Manager, People and Culture at Grant Thornton. So welcome, Amanda.
Hi, Willie. That's nice to be here, and hello, everyone.
Hi. So Amanda, I would like you to give your introduction, and then we'll move into a bit of a discussion with you around employability and career points.
Right. Hello, everyone. So you may see my name written as AA, stands for Amanda Abraham, really. So I'm really pleased to meet you all today virtually on this webinar. In terms of my background and experience, I actually started my journey on ACCA back in 2012 with PwC's Academy and with working at one of the big four as well. I moved later on into BCG, to Boston Consulting Group that many of you may know, and I'm now here in Grant Thornton as Learning and Development Manager. My journey as an ACCA student took a bit of a different turn than most people do. So I started working in training. I started doing some finance work, but my heart and soul has always been in the training industry, and it's why I used to do a lot of technical training on ACCA as well. But over time now, it's been 8+ years, I've been working in learning and development, and I've also had a chance to sit on the recruitment side back at BCG, and also now I'm part of the people and culture team. So I get to see a lot of students coming in, desiring roles in terms of internships and jobs with us. And I have a very clear idea of what kind of skills is really required from people who are looking out for jobs. And I'd like to also share with you my ACCA experience as we go through the session today. But I'm really delighted to be here, and I hope I can share with you some pearls of wisdom that's going to help you out in your career, as I see most of you have wanted career growth. So hopefully some of the tips that I share with you can really help you to achieve that.
Yes, thank you very much, Amanda. Thanks again, and it's great to have you here. So this part is going to focus around some discussion that I would like to have with you, which will benefit to everyone and to our participants this evening. Once we are done with few questions to Amanda, then you can also ask any questions that you have for Amanda. So as we are having this discussion, feel free to put your questions into the chat box. And I will be happy to take those questions for Amanda once we are done with this. So Amanda, first question for you. You're obviously an ACCA qualified member as well. So what value does ACCA qualification bring for you?
Sure. So I have to say my career really changed after doing an ACCA qualification, primarily because I was actually a university graduate. I had finished schooling here in Dubai, moved over to India to do a bachelor's degree in business, and I came back to Dubai to find work. And I found that I wasn't really able to get the right kind of employment that I was looking for in terms of pay scale, in terms of position, title, and even a drive for work. And that's when I stumbled upon this great qualification that now has made a huge impact on my life. I did my ACCA between 2012 to 2015, and I can pretty much link all of my career success to this one qualification, primarily because ACCA does something very special. It opens doors. It intrigues people about you. And when they see your CV sitting on top of a pile, especially because I decided to go into learning and development, they were very curious to know what an L&D professional was doing with an ACCA qualification. And it's really one of the reasons I was hired by Grant Thornton is because it's an accounting and auditing firm. And what better resource to have than an L&D manager who's ACCA qualified, because I'm then able to really understand what learning needs are for our people and help with developing and growing. And I can guarantee that was probably the selling point that I had, is that I had an ACCA on my CV along with all of my L&D experience. A similar thing happened to me when I joined BCG as well. Once again, they were just looking for an L&D professional, but they were intrigued by the fact that I had an ACCA and that they had a finance team that needed upskilling. And most times when you're an HR professional, you're not expected to know all the technicalities, but if you do, it can add a lot of value. So I've done my time in finance. I decided that wasn't for me, but since ACCA is such a great qualification, it allows me to do pretty much anything I want. And it gives me a lot of other opportunities for upskilling as well. So for me, I definitely have to guarantee a lot of my career success to this qualification.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Amanda, for that. So again, great to see that. And I think you're a great example that how people who have ACCA qualification are not only supposed to work in accounting and finance, but that opens up doors to so many other avenues as well, learning and development being one of them. You did mention in your intro that you have always been passionate about training as well, and your experiences of training would have connected you well with the students. And you obviously know the ACCA qualification, how it has evolved over the recent years. So what has been new in the ACCA qualification really, to summarize, and how do you think that it helps the students, and how it has helped students develop their skills by learning ACCA and these recent updates?
Right. So for ACCA, I remember when I started, ACCA had only 2 exam windows, which meant you could either write your exam in June and only in December. Over time, they opened up 4 windows, and a lot changed because then you had so many opportunities to really attempt exams, as opposed to the restricted number of times that you had previously. The second big change that I noticed was, of course, in the papers themselves and the exams themselves. In the past, we had around 14 papers, and then it got reduced, but it didn't really get reduced. ACCA went ahead and combined 2 papers to make a nice big paper that we now call the Strategic Business Leader paper. And it does test more than, it tests more than your exam techniques and skills at passing exams. It really makes you think differently, it makes you think creatively, and it makes you think strategically. And this is a really important paper that usually ACCA asks you to leave to the end, because it's usually the most taxing and the most difficult paper, but it's also the most rewarding in terms of the learning that you actually get out of it. So I think that paper was probably a big change to ACCA. Separately, in terms of other updates that ACCA has made, is they've become very employability friendly. They host a series of career conferences. They have they have approved employers. They do a lot to help their students find the right kind of roles and responsibilities and work that they're looking for. And I think that's something really great that ACCA does. Another thing that ACCA is also doing is that they usually look at key trends in the marketplace, like data analytics, AI, digital economy areas, and they look at sustainability, which is obviously a really huge point of contention across many firms and organizations today. And they find ways to educate their people and the people who are going through the qualification. There's access to so many free resources on ACCA's website. I was actually just tagging through it myself recently, and I'm actually, as an L&D manager, going to start recommending some of these courses to my colleagues at GT because it's so relevant and so useful, whether or not they're an ACCA member. So I think ACCA is very open. It has a lot of emphasis on employability, a lot of emphasis on key trends and marketplace, and also a lot of emphasis on how they don't want you to just be an accountant. They want you to be a strategic thinker who can do a wide variety of jobs apart from just being an accountant or an auditor, etc.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I mean, great insights into the recent changes, and definitely there is so much focus into the fintech and the new kind of financial updates recently in the qualification, and I'm sure that is going to help the students in the long run. Now shifting the focus a little bit away from the students into more of employability skills. So you have worked at some really big organizations in your career already. What were the key skills that made you employable?
Sure. So if I look back and I have to look at something consistent that I was able to display across all of my work that really landed me the success that I was looking for, I think my top one would be ownership and accountability. People expect when you join a firm that you're willing to take up responsibility, that you take initiative, and that you show drive. If you're just simply waiting for your manager to tell you what to do, that doesn't really show ownership. It's usually ownership sets you apart from everyone else and allows you to, make it through your probation successfully and find ways to get promoted and grow within the corporate organization. That's number one. Number two was definitely networking. So it's really important for us. I know a lot of people tag this really unkind word towards accountants saying that, we're all introverts and all we need to know to do is crunch numbers. But that's not fair and that's not true. I know many, many accountants out there who are excellent speakers, excellent at collaborating and networking. But what I've realized is hard work will only take you so far. You do need to network and build good relationships in order to succeed in your career. And the last thing is presence and presentation. Public speaking will be something that comes up in your work life from the time you enter as a young student to the time you are sitting as a senior partner at a firm. At all times and levels of your career, it will be equally important whether you take the opportunities to present and speak publicly. That will link in to your ownership and your accountability and your drive. And that is something that people find very useful and in terms of skills when they're looking to recruit someone.
Yeah, thanks for that. And connected to that, so you're now working at Grant Thornton. So what do you think these kind of organizations, what are the key skills that they will look for in the candidates that are looking to work in these organizations?
Yes, I can definitely tell you because I recently just ran some interviewing skills training for our hiring managers. So we're actually telling them what kind of candidates to look for. So one of the things that we definitely look for is knowledge. Knowledge in terms of if you're an ACCA student, there are certain technical matters that you may be expected to know. So for example, I've known of ACCA students who have gone into an interview and they've been asked simple questions like, what is an accrual? And they haven't been able to answer it. And to be honest, if you're 5-6 papers down in ACCA, you should know already by now. If you've been passing exams, you'd know what an accrual is. And these are some basic questions that you would get asked at the entry level. So they do expect that you can answer simple questions. Some of the more complicated questions, they're not expecting you to answer it. They're expecting you to give them an honest answer about whether or not you know it and you understand it. But there are simple things, basic things that they do expect you to know in terms of knowledge. The second thing that they look for is your competencies, which is basically linked into the values of the firm. So at Grant Thornton, we have something known as clear values, which is basically collaboration, leadership, excellence, agility, respect, and responsibility. So when they ask you questions, they're looking to identify whether you have the capacity and the interest in collaborating, whether you want to show leadership, whether you have a drive for excellence, and whether you're able to keep up with the fast-paced environment of accounting and audit. So there's lots of questions that you'll get asked around your values and your competencies in these particular values that they're looking for. So these two are probably the major things that are looked at when someone comes into an organization, and specifically for Grant Thornton. However, a lot of times the recruiters are also looking for the right fit in the organization. They're looking for people who are going to stay not just for a year or a few months. They're looking for someone who's willing to build a career in the organization. So, when you're asked questions like, what is your plan for the next 5 years? And you say, okay, I wouldn't be with this firm, then they start thinking, okay, maybe you're not the right fit. So sometimes there are questions asked that are designed to gauge whether you're interested to pursue something long-term with the company, or if this is just going to be a stepping stone into something else. So definitely, if I had to recap, it would be the knowledge, the competencies, some of the soft skills that they're looking for as well. There are soft skills that they're looking for in terms of your emotional intelligence, how you come across, your presence and presentation. And then they're also looking at your commitment to a longer term career with the firm. So, I mean, you may have understood, but in the audit industry, there tends to be sometimes quite a bit of turnover. People tend to leave and come back. So nowadays, firms are moving away from that model to having long-term careers, and they want people joining their firm that have an interest in the same thing. So that's something very, very important at GT in terms of when the recruitment is going on.
Okay, yeah, thanks a lot, Amanda. Last question for you, and I think we've touched briefly on it, but I would just like a list of few options here for the attendees. That once you're an ACCA affiliate or a member, what career roles are available for you? So apart from accounting and finance, I mean, what do you think the ACCA affiliates or members can do?
I think ACCA opens a lot of doors. It gives you some basic accounting knowledge that you can put to use in any role. For example, I know a lot of people who, after finishing their ACCA, went on to start their own business. They became entrepreneurs. And I think some potential entrepreneurs feel scared about opening their own business because they're not sure how to manage the money. So they end up doing qualifications and courses to equip themselves to be able to run their business in a solid, accurate, and safe manner. So in fact, I remember when I was teaching ACCA, I would have many students in my class who weren't there to find a job in accounting. They were there because they wanted to set up their own business, and they wanted some key bookkeeping skills in order to be able to do that. Bookkeeping is only one part of ACCA, of course. Bookkeeping is the basic that they need to know, but then there's also other learnings that come across through ACCA that can help them in their journey to entrepreneurship. Secondly, you can go into different fields. It's not just audit or becoming a management accountant, a financial accountant, an auditor. You can become a controller. There are many different options in the accounting industry. You do have options in HR as well, like me. And I know I'm not the only one who has finished her ACCA or his ACCA and then gone on to do something in learning or in HR. I know many people like this in many of the big four. So sometimes you may start off with an ACCA because it's a safe and solid choice, and it gives you the opportunity to then build on and do the things you love on top of it. For example, I know someone who's an ACCA and is also a pilot because they can, so there's a lot of opportunities out there for what you want to do as an ACCA. It doesn't limit you to these 10 or 11 occupations that you may have seen, like I was saying, management accountant, financial accountant, auditor, financial controller, forensic accountant. Some people decide to go into advisory functions as well, where they go into consulting, and the doors are open. You can always find your way into these these opportunities by maybe just doing an additional qualification or doing an additional certification or just showing your interest. So I know, for example, we have someone else that we've taught before, and Willie, then Marinissa might remember this person as well, because we all taught this person at one point, but he's actually gone into digital, into a lot of digital work. He's learned how to code. He does a lot of design, digital design-based strategies and solutions for the Big Four, and he started off as an ACCA. So it never limits you. It only ever opens doors. So that's what I would say about the ACCA qualification and what you can achieve from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Lots of options in terms of career choices. Thanks a lot, Amanda, for answering all these questions. And I would just like to take a bit of your time more for any questions which our attendees may have for you. So anyone who has any questions for Amanda, can you please?
I think Tuba has raised her hand or his hand.
Yes, if you put it into the chat box, it will be better. But so Tuba, I've allowed you to talk. If you want to talk or you want to put your question in the chat box as you feel good. So you can unmute yourself, Tuba, and either ask the question or you can type in the chat box.
No, I'm sorry. I wasn't supposed to ask a question, but I accidentally clicked the raise hand button.
Okay, no worries, no worries.
Okay, no worries, yeah.
Okay, any other questions for Amanda? If you'd like to ask anything. So there's a question on the chat box. Shakti Prasad, hi, Amanda. So
Hi, Shakti.
Any more questions for Amanda? If you want to ask any questions, I can let you talk. So Natasha has a question. Oh, a few questions coming in. Natasha's question, what qualifications are good to do after ACCA if you want to pursue something in accounting?
So if you're looking for qualifications to do after ACCA, there's just such a wealth of qualifications. It really depends what you're trying to achieve. I know quite a few individuals in Grant Thornton, for example, because they get close to 13 exemptions from ICAEW by virtue of completing ACCA, that they choose to do ICAEW as a top-up because it has some prestige additionally attached to it, as does ACCA, and it just opens, again, more doors for you in terms of networks and in terms of resources. So certain individuals decide to do ICAEW as an additional qualification. Another great thing is the CIA. So the IIA and the ACCA actually have a challenge exam. So once you're a member, you can actually access the CIA exams, which is the Certified Internal Auditor exam. So if that's something you wanted to do, you could do that as well. And the great thing about the CIA challenge exam is it merges all three exams together. So you only have to write one exam. Whereas if you do CIA as a qualification separately, apart from ACCA, you have to do 3 papers. But if you're an ACCA member, I recognize is that you already have sufficient knowledge to then just do one giant paper and a challenge paper and get there. So those are some examples of qualifications that you can do. The second question, I think, is, hi, Amanda, will you advise someone who has spent 10 years in the nonprofit sector to change careers? Will it be easier? So I think this will come back a little bit to your values. So it really depends what you're looking to do in terms of your career. If you're looking to make a difference, if you're looking to help people socially, nonprofit's probably the best place to do that, where you have a direct impact on society. However, if you're moving into a profit sector, you will still have an impact, but it's just that you may not see the societal impact on a day-to-day basis. So again, it really drives back to your values in terms of what is easier. What's easier is to always go to an organization, firm, or industry that matches what you're looking for in terms of your own personal life. Some firms can give you more money. Some firms can give you more meaning and purpose. It depends on which one you're looking for. Another question is I've been doing ACCA from 2018 onwards, but I've been struggling with clearing the papers. I really don't know what is the reason for that. I think what I've noticed sometimes is that knowledge doesn't really help all the time when it comes to ACCA or any professional qualifications. It's really important to have good exam techniques and good skills in order to do your exams well. And I'm sure at Kaplan, they're already doing a lot of, a skill-based kind of training where they teach you exam techniques on top of your regular ACCA studies. So it goes one step beyond learning ACCA to what can you do in the exam? What are the right techniques that you can use that can make the difference between a fail and a pass? What do you advise someone who wishes to pursue ACCA as a career but fails in technical interviews due to the tension in the room and is still willing to learn and go the distance? I've actually run a lot of interviewing skills training for candidates. We usually do a lot of mocks with them to prepare them. And I think Kaplan also has an Achievers program, which I guess Waleed will be talking about a little later on. But they actually have a day of employability skills where they coach people to handle stress in interviews. Once again, you got to remember that an interview is an opportunity for you to shine. It's an opportunity for you to share all of the good work that you've been doing, all of the hard work, all of the days that are spent studying and the nights when you couldn't sleep. All that is leading up to that interview where you can show that I'm an ACCA professional or I am a professional accountant and here's what I have to say. But there can be stress and there can be issues where you're feeling like you can't come across in the best way. And it's always good to have mock interviews and practice with as many people as you possibly can. Get them to give you feedback, your friends, your family, or teachers. Get them to give you independent and constructive feedback so you can first put yourself in a situation where you're in a safe space and then take your meaningful conversations and the things you want to share to the actual interview.
Thanks a lot, Amanda. I mean, that was a great piece of advice, the mock interviews. And so many times we see candidates walking into an interview and then not prepared. And that's something which definitely helps. Any more questions for Amanda, please? Would you like to ask her anything else? You can drop it in the chat box. We'll just wait a minute or so if any more questions come in.
I think just before some questions come in, I just want to say thank you to the 4 or 5 of you who've sent questions. It's a very brave thing to do in a situation like this, to ask difficult questions, primarily because this is an opportunity that's been given to you and you're making the most of it. So I definitely say you're on your step and on your way to success, because if you continue to ask questions, you continue to show interest, and you actually take an active interest in becoming better and developing yourself, no one can really stop you from progressing. So I think this is a great step that you're taking, asking questions. Hi, what would GT look for in a candidate looking to pursue a career in finance? So it takes me back to the 4 things that I mentioned before. They would really look at your basic knowledge. If you've had internship experience before in audit or accounting, it makes a huge difference, because then they know you've already worked in an environment where you've learned on the job. You have certain skills that are required in terms of how to talk to clients, how to manage your work, how to take responsibility. So usually they always look for people who've had some sort of internship experience or work experience in a relevant field. That's usually what GT would look for. They look at some of the softer skills as well, whether you're able to come across in an emotionally intelligent way. That means you answer questions in a calm and assured manner. You are able to give good examples of your past work. You're able to present yourself well. You are on time to interviews. All of these things are considered very heavily when GT looks for a candidate who's pursuing a career in finance. They're looking for whether you're going to be good on the ground. What's going to happen once you join the firm? Are you going to be able to handle the clients? Are you going to be able to handle the work? Are you going to be a good team player that they want to have on a particular team that drives other individuals and doesn't cause any kind of issues. So these are the type of things that they're looking for. And they're also looking for someone who's really interested to pursue a career in finance. And it's not just a run of the mill, I'll just try this and see what happens kind of situation. So even if you are in that situation, it's really important it doesn't come across in your interview, because if you seem unsure or not really interested, it will come across, and your recruiters are experienced. They know what red flags to look for when they're hiring candidates. So it's up to you to really present a good picture of yourself for them to actually take it forward to the next step.
Just a quick question, Amanda, connected to Preet's question. So when we think about the accounting firms like GT, the kind of roles that students think are only going to be related to accounting and audit sides. Is there scope for like finance specific roles like consultancy or something specifically in finance and not audit related work? So is there
Yes.
other roles available there as well?
Yes, we actually have a lot of people who are ACCA qualified working on the tax advisory side. So they do bring them in, and all they usually need to do is they need to do an additional certification, which is the BAT diploma, but it's given to them after they join GT. So you're not required to do it in order to join GT. It's just that once you join, they put you on this particular program so that you can get up to speed on VAT and international tax. But definitely, as an initial requirement, they're very happy to take on ACCA students, ACCA aspirants, and ACCA qualified professionals to join them on the tax advisory side. On the consulting side, they have specific qualifications that they look for. So CFA, CIA, CFE, all of these are qualifications that the advisory side of the business looks for. So as I said, some of you may choose to do ACCA, then a CIA, in which case you then become kind of more eligible to join advisory. You can do ACCA and then a CFA. That also makes you more eligible to join on the advisory side. But it doesn't prevent you. If you're able to show your interest, you've done other certifications on the side, you've put in effort, you can still get into advisory even without these additional qualifications, and you can do these qualifications on the go once you're already employed. So I know for a fact that there are certain people who started with a Big Four. They went through a graduate program, they did the entire ACCA, but then they decided to change around. So they started doing CFA and then moved over to advisory in another firm. So advisory and consulting, I would mean. So definitely there is scope to go into not just audit, but into other fields as well.
Okay, so there's one more question.
Yeah, I see a question. Will you encourage? Yes. I honestly don't need to read this question to say a resounding yes. And I can tell you, I mean, I'm an L&D professional now. I don't teach ACCA anymore, but I actually booked the ACCA data analytics course earlier today. I actually paid for it, and I'm looking forward to do the course myself. I think ACCA has given us a very affordable option to learn about data analytics. I think everyone should know how to read basic bar graphs, charts, etc., because it's so relevant for the kind of work that we are doing today. So I think this is super important for us. And I think if you have an option and if you have the financial capability at this stage to go for it, please do. It's an excellent course to do while you're doing ACCA.
All right, great. Thanks a lot, Amanda, for all these answers, and thanks everyone for sending us these questions. Any final questions before Amanda leaves? Any questions for her? I mean, if there are any questions that you would like to send later, I mean, feel free to send us any questions, and we can pass over to Amanda. Any questions you may have?
Yes, definitely. I'm super responsive to questions like this, because I really admire you for asking the questions, for taking advantage of opportunities such as this to invest in your career. Not everyone does. So I am very, very happy to answer any questions offline as well. If you send an email to Waleed, I'm sure he will share it with me, and I'm happy to, even get on a call with you someday and answer your questions if you have something very specific to ask. But please feel free to reach out to me. I'm always happy to help. And yeah, and I hope you've learned something from the kind of advice that I've given. I've been in the workplace. I've been working for the last 10.5 years to 11 years now. So I hope I can give you some elements of wisdom that I've had to learn on the job that you can probably come armed with into the workforce.
Thank you, Amanda. It was all great advice, and we are really, really thankful that you joined us this evening, and we hope to have you on some other webinars later as well.
For sure. I thank you everyone who attended. I can see there's around 20 attendees on here. So thank you everyone for coming. Wish you all the best and good luck with making decisions on your future qualifications and stuff. So thank you so much.
Okay, great. That was great, and I hope you all benefited a lot from that. So moving on to our agenda, and I would just like to keep the next bits a bit shorter so that you get more time to ask us any ACCA related questions, any questions around Kaplan. But the first thing I would like to do is I would like to know a bit more about you. So if I can please ask you for some for the next set of questions. So here it is. So if you can please answer this question for me. Which stage of ACCA program are you at? Are you at applied knowledge, skills, professional? If you're yet to start, just take applied knowledge. So that will be the introductory stage. Okay, so we've got more attendees here who are doing strategic professional, which is around 60%. Then we've got 20% on applied skills, and we've got 20% on applied knowledge as well. That's great to know. The next question, which I would like to ask you, is what is your preferred mode of learning for the ACCA program? Is it face-to-face? Is it live online training? Or is it self-study at home using pre-recorded videos? Okay, so that's an interesting one. So 55% saying face-to-face, 57%, 29% saying live online, and 14% saying self-study. So that really verifies my take on this question as well in this region, that we are back to the normal and we are heading back to a lot of face-to-face training. And this obviously proves that a lot of you are interested in that face-to-face training model as well. But obviously we do cater to all kinds of learning preferences. So if it's face-to-face, live online, hybrid, we've got a solution for everything. My last question for you is that do you have a professional degree? So yes or no? Any kind of degree. Okay. Okay, so 57% yes and 43% no. So the reason I've asked this question is because the last part of this webinar is around the MSc. And I've got my colleague Marinissa who would be interested in this question. And if you don't have a degree, then there's a path for you to get a degree after doing the ACCA qualification. If you already have a degree and you are looking for a top up or a different sort of degree, then that option is also available once you look at the ACCA qualification and the routes available. So I'm going to talk about the ACCA qualification. I've got lots of slides here, but I don't want to read each and every slide page by page or line by line. So I'll just do a bit of an overview here so that it gives you time to ask us any questions at the end. So in terms of the ACCA qualification, the first thing is about Kaplan. We are obviously part of the Kaplan group, which is incorporated into the US and the UK, and we report to the UK. We have been training accountants for more than 80 plus years. We're part of Fortune 500 group. And it's more recently that Kaplan decided to launch itself into this region. And Dubai being the hub is where we launched in the last 2 to 3 years. This is the first year when Kaplan is now operating in this region on its own as part of Kaplan Professional Middle East. And very soon you'll be seeing us expanding in this region. And obviously we've got a strategic aim to expand in the GCC region and be there in all the centers of the GCC over the next 3 to 5 years. But this is the stepping stone, which is obviously the UAE, the central hub of GCC in many ways. Also about ACCA now. So so those who are very new to the qualification, ACCA qualification is obviously giving you a lot of flexibility in terms of career options. And as Amanda mentioned, that what are the possible kind of career paths you can take. So you learn about different topics of accounting and finance, you get your certification, and then obviously you are part of a global pool of chartered certified accountants, and obviously opening doors in a lot of countries and different career options. In terms of the journey on ACCA pathway, so there is applied knowledge, which is the initial set of 3 papers. Then we have applied skills, which involves six exams. And then there are strategic professional, where you do 2 essentials and pick any 2 option papers. And obviously, in addition to this, you also need to do your ethics and professional skills module. You should have 3 years of relevant work experience to become an ACCA member. If you only pass your exams, then you're called an ACCA affiliate. Obviously, more details about that here. So the 3 levels again, FIA, the skills, and the professional. There is, to qualify as an ACCA member, you will need to complete 13 exams. You should have 36 months of experience, and you should have done the ethics and professional module when you're going to claim your membership. And obviously, I've mentioned here a few entry routes for you as well. But if you have any kind of confusions around that, please feel free to get in touch with me or the team at the end. And we're very happy to support any of the questions you may have on the entry within ACCA qualification. The ACCA exam format is on-demand exams for BT, MA, FA, and LW. That's the first 4 papers. And then session-based, computer-based exams, which are all the remaining papers. So this year in June, ACCA went all CBE for the first time in this region. So now we have all the exams CBE, and the pass mark is 50%. Equivalent qualifications, and along with doing ACCA, you can also do a BSc honors degree with Oxford Brookes, and you can also do MSc in professional accountancy from University of London. And my colleague on the webinar, Marinissa, will be talking very shortly. She is the mentor for both of these degrees. So we do provide mentoring as well for both of these degree programs, which Marinissa will be talking about later in this webinar. As Amanda also mentioned, that ACCA has got some recognition agreements with different bodies. So there you see that they've got lots of tie-ups with different bodies globally, which gives you more an opportunity to get more credentials next to your name, and obviously a great opportunity to learn about global certifications as well. Now, in terms of Kaplan's training solutions, I would like to just talk briefly about why Kaplan. And again, I've been a student in Kaplan, and this is what we preach now here as well. And that Kaplan's learning style is all evidence-based. So we are not looking to cover 100% of entire syllabuses, because that doesn't work. The evidence-based learning is that you need retrieval practice and you need spaced practice. And we've got a full scientific study done by our head of learning at Kaplan, who's Stuart Burley-Smith, that how it is evidence-based learning and how you can improve your chances of passing if you do follow a certain kind of a structure in training. So for example, having a timetable, having tuition phase mock exams, having revision phase mock exams, having 2 question-based days as part of your ACCA exam prep, and then you go into the exam. So at Kaplan, for example, we have 4 mock exams before you go into the actual exam. There's 1 on the tuition phase, 1 on the revision mock, and 2 more exams just before you go into the actual exam. So there's lots of opportunities to prepare yourself well, and that's part of our structure, that how we prepare you to pass your exams. And that has been the most important element for the success that we have gained in the UK. And now we are spreading this here in this region as well. And I'll talk about our pass rates and prize winners in a minute, which will verify that how that has helped people or students in this region more recently. We have flexible training programs. If you like classroom, which a lot of you do, we have classroom training. We have live online as well. And we also have a hybrid model, which is classroom delivery is also streamed online. If you like pre-recorded videos, then we have the on-demand solution, where you go at your own pace and watch those recordings. And obviously, we've got brilliant study materials, which are ACCA approved and the ones that you can trust to pass your exams. Again, in terms of the classroom face-to-face experience, you're more than welcome to visit our premises. You can attend demo sessions as well with our trainers and feel happy with the kind of experience that you will get. And we are very happy to have you attend some of our lectures and just enjoy that classroom or face-to-face experience. Live online, as I said, that you do join us online, but then we do also make sure that you are fine with the pace of the class, and therefore it's more interactive and engaging as you learn about the program. The on-demand platform is a very unique kind of a product in this region, where there are pre-recorded videos available for all the exams, and you go at your own pace. So you get access to all the materials, and there are recorded videos available. So you watch them as many times as you want. There is a study plan available as well, and it is everything. It's kind of self-study model, but with some support in terms of the videos available, which are there for you to progress well. So if you like this model, which is very flexible as well, so therefore this is one of the products that we offer, and we're very happy to let you experience this as well. So if you'd like to experience any of our on-demand products, I'm very happy to let you have a little demo of this product as well. And as I said, the study materials, obviously Kaplan is one of the 2 approved ACCA content providers globally, which means that the study text and the pocket notes and exam kit is what is reviewed by the examining teams on regular basis and obviously verified by ACCA, and therefore that gives you the best chance to ace your exams. There are study resources available for you as well. We've got dashboard or LMS where all the material gets uploaded. We've got video library as well, because all the sessions that we deliver at Kaplan are recorded in class as well. So if you have attended a face-to-face class and you want to watch the recording again, well, that's fine. There's an option. If you have been online and you want to watch the recording again, there's a video library available. There's a mobile app available as well, mock exams, and therefore you get reporting on your topic-wise tests or scores as well as part of your study resources available. So you always know that how you're doing as compared to your batch. We have got our own CB platforms. As I said, in June, Kaplan was the first one in the region, because we had a My Kaplan CB platform from the UK. So the first ones to use that. So when ACCA's exams went computer-based, we had this platform ready where it is a complete, a very similar exam experience to what you'll get in the real exam through our dedicated My Kaplan CB platform. We also use ACCA's Test Reach platform, and we have got our questions already built into the platform in case you want to use that. So both options are available to prepare you for your ACCA exams. Obviously, there's also pass assurance, although we are really, really confident that you won't need it. But just in case, for your peace of mind, if you think that you will need some sort of pass assurance or pass guarantee, we've got you covered. There's a bit of a criteria that needs to be met, and then you have the pass assurance with you, but not just the pass assurance. We are happy to sit with you and understand that why things didn't go well to the plan. So you can get feedback on your performance, your exam attempts, your scores, your results, and then we can give you a plan going forward that how you can ace your exam if you have not been successful. But the kind of pass rates that we've been getting this year, it's just phenomenal. And again, I can share more about that in a bit. A bit of a snippet of our team here in the UAE. So I'm obviously there as the head of exam prep, and I also teach AFM APM, and FM. We've got Natalie Al-Samarai, who teaches PM, SBL, MA. We have Amar Mehra, who is the tax guru. Zefa, who's expert in audit. We've got Sagar as well, who'll be doing bits and pieces as well on audit. So it's between Zefa and Sagar. Sana also specializes in tax and FM. Bilal, who teaches FR, SBR, and also some audit papers. And we've got Marinissa, who specializes in BT, FA law, and then mentoring on the ACCA exams as well. So if you'd like to speak to any of our team, very happy for you to speak to them as well. As I was telling you about our recent results, so this is the recent September exam where we had 5 national prize winners across this region, including the 2 regional prize winners. And this is obviously a great achievement in our very first year, the kind of results that we are achieving. This is certainly going to grow further. And as I said, we are looking to expand in the region over the next few years. And that just shows you the kind of audience that we're getting in the region and how they are benefiting from our courses. Just a very small bit on Kaplan's placement program as well, and this continues from Amanda's discussion about the Achievers program. So this is a program which I have designed at Kaplan this year, and the Achievers program is built around 3 pillars. So you basically get 3 days of training. The first day of training is around your technical skills. So you get trained on skills such as fintech, how to develop a business acumen, financial storytelling, etc. The second day is behavioral sessions where you learn about CV writing, you do mock interviews, you work on personal branding, etc. And the third day, we invite some of our strategic partners who are employers and who are looking to offer jobs. So third day is on-campus interviews, and the last batch that we ran, so we had about 10 students on that Achievers program, and 8 have already been placed in different organizations. So if you do follow our social media, you'll be seeing a lot of their testimonials and snippets over the next 2 weeks as we are compiling their videos, etc. So great opportunity to equip you with the right kind of technical skills, behavioral skills, and then taking you through some interviews on the third day, where we can let you have that opportunity to attend those interviews and then hopefully get selected and placed with different organizations in the region. Oh, and here are a few of the placed students over the last couple of months. Afra, Savita, Ruchita, they all joined us this year, and then they were placed as part of different organizations. So I truly feel that our role is just not to train. Our role is to equip you with the right kind of skills and then also help you with some sort of jobs that you can get. So on our WhatsApp groups in the classes, regularly there are, as soon as any opportunity comes in and organizations do approach us, we directly put in the groups, you send your CVs, we link you to the employers, and there you have your opportunity to speak to them. So Gautam and Chamara were specifically part of the Achievers program, and they landed jobs with Crow and Gym Nation. I have the course start dates available here. So if anyone would be interested in joining us in the March session, so we've got 2 start dates. The first start date is in December, those who want to start early. So those who want to start early, they can start joining us from the mid-December. And that obviously gives you more time to prepare for your March exams. But in case you are on holidays and leave during December, then we've got another option for you, which is that you start in January 22. So that's the first week of January that you start your training. So either you start in December, and that's an early start, or you start in January, which is a late start, let's say, which still gives you enough time to prepare for the exam, but that just depends on your preference. Now, before I hand it over to Marinissa for her bits on the MSc qualification, are there any quick questions that you would like to ask me in relation to ACCA or anything related to Kaplan's ACCA program? So any quick questions for me before I hand it over to Marinissa? One question coming in, does the on-demand platform have any facility to reach out to tutors for doubts or questions? Yes, Madhumati, there is an option where on the platform you can leave some questions for the tutors. But what I'm planning for next year is that I'm also planning to give access to our tutors here in Dubai. So once you are on that product, then we can connect you to our tutors in Dubai as well, so that if you've got any questions, you can directly access them. Otherwise, the portal does allow you to leave some questions, and then they can be taken by the tutors who are on part of that on-demand product. Any more quick questions for me before I pass it to Marinissa? Any quick questions around ACCA or Kaplan's program? Okay, so if you've got any questions, please feel free to put in the chat box. I can take them at the end as well. And I can leave my contact details as well, just in case you would like to reach out to me for anything after this webinar as well. And over to you, Marinissa, to introduce yourself and then talk about the MSc program.
Thank you, Waleed. Hi, everyone. Thank you for attending the session. My name is Marinissa. I work as a finance trainer and a content developer at Kaplan. And today I'm going to talk to you about the option of pursuing the MSc degree with the University of London. I myself have done the MSc degree, so that gives me a lot of insight in terms of what the university is looking at, what do they want from the students. I have been mentoring for the degree ever since it has been launched in the region. And we have had some exceptional results on that. So, but now the MSc program has changed, okay, and it is for the better, okay? So I'll take you through the changes and let you know what options that are available to you. Yes, thank you so much. Okay, so the first change that has happened in the MSc degree is that before you had to be either an ACCA affiliate or a member to pursue this degree. However, now they have changed it. If you are a member of any other qualifications such as CPA, such as ICAW, CIMA, ACAI, the Indian Chartered Accountant, the Pakistani Chartered Accountant, or any other, professional qualification, okay, the University of London allows you to register onto the program. The benefit that you have specifically for ACCA is that you don't have to be a member, even affiliates can join as well. Now, one thing I want to point out is that for doing a master's degree, you need about 180 credit hours, okay? What amazing thing ACCA does is that it gives you an exemption for 120 credit hours. So you only need to do about 60 credit hours worth of work for you to be able to get this degree. And as a result, there is an option for you to actually get this degree in a much shorter period of time as compared to if you were going, to a university here in the region or somewhere else. Next slide. Okay, first of all, why should you be doing the MSc degree? Okay, like I said, number one, it's a fast track opportunity. Okay, so if anybody who wants to pursue an MSc in 6 months, you have that option available to you. I remember when I was doing the MSc, I started as soon as I finished my ACCA, and I landed really good, interviews and jobs with really big companies like Bottega Veneta, Marriott Hotel. So it opens up a lot of doors for you, and that tells you that it is recognized by employers. Second part of the fact is that this degree is, it's awarded by University of London. However, the academic direction, means the one who's created this degree is University College London. And they're actually awarded, or they're ranked 8th in the QS World Ranking. Now, there are two ways students go when they're studying. I'm personally more on the academic side. So let's say, for example, if you want to pursue more, professional qualifications, students usually go for, CFA. Whereas students who want to pursue, let's say, for example, more academic qualifications, okay, they want to do PhD, this MSc gives you that option as well. So if you want, let's say, in your career, you want to pursue PhD in finance or accounting, that is something that I want, then, you can do that as well. If you are a member and you're pursuing this, the good thing about it is that it gives you about 40 to 41 CPDs. So you're covered for a good 2 years after doing this, and you can carry forward those CPD points as well. And the thing that I really loved about this MSc is that the opportunity of networking. I have made, friends all over the world because of this. And it's not just friends, it's, opportunity for you to network and grow your career and learn from people from various backgrounds. You'll find people who are starting out in their career, and you will find people also who are working on like really high executive positions. And lastly, that this is something that is, very economically friendly. Let's say, for example, if you were to go to one of the top universities in Dubai, like American University of Sharjah, and you pick out an MSc degree there, it will cost you about 150,000 dirhams a year. Okay, whereas this one is far, far, far less than, that amount. And it is, a good value that you're getting. It is, highly recognized and it is reputable. One thing that I said earlier about the credit hours, where I said that ACCA gives you exemptions for those 120 credit hours, that means you need to do only 60. If you were doing a normal master's degree, okay, you wouldn't get those exemptions. That means you would need to do work worth of 180 credit hours, which is very hectic. So somebody who's working, it's very difficult for them to manage. Now, if you're doing the MSc degree, why should you do it with Kaplan? Okay, so the first thing is that the support we provide in terms of helping bridge the gap between ACCA and MSc. Myself, I moved directly from school, ACCA and MSc, so I never really, knew how academic writing works, how universities work, and they're very different. Professional qualifications and academic world is very, very different. So we provide you help in terms of, bridging that gap. Okay, and teaching you those smart techniques to be able to write good academic papers. Because you could have the best technical knowledge, okay, but if you don't know how to write that paper, you'll not get the grade that you're looking for. We divide our classes and we have 12 days of mentoring sessions, and we divide them based on the modules, as some modules need more than the other. We have a blend of classroom where everybody attends, and we discuss general topics, and we have one-on-one mentoring. So where you're doing, you're writing your own project, which is different from somebody else's, so you'll get feedback specifically based on what you have written. In terms of our trainers, so myself, like I said, I have done the MSc degree. We have Walid has the MSc degree as well. And there we have a few more other trainers as well who have done the University of London's MSc degree. So we have a great pool of knowledge in terms of, what is required. And most of us also have distinction in this degree. So we really know what they're looking for. We're going to help you with your referencing, your writing, and your researching. Again, apart from the writing, there's a lot of deal involved in these graduate skills that a lot of students don't know, in terms of referencing, in terms of how to read, because on internet there is a wide variety of sources and information available. How do you find the relevant information that you need to put in your project? So we help you in terms of doing that as well. Now, in terms of, Walid has already spoken about our different options that we have a lot of flexible learning in terms of opportunity for you, that if you want, you can attend classroom training, you can watch it live online, or you can even watch the recorded video later, and then you can discuss with the mentors. Now, what is involved in the MSc degree? Okay, so first part of the MSc, which is a capstone project. Okay, you don't have to do it in the same sequence. For the explanation purpose, I'll go line by line. The capstone project is the compulsory thing that you have to do. Okay, and this gives you 30 credits. The first part of it is the research proposal. Now, research proposal is purely academic. For anybody who is on a master's level should know how to do, okay? And this is something that will help you if you're pursuing PhD in the future. This is basically you saying that, okay, I want to research or something, I want to find out something, okay? And it gives you the proper researching technique. You're not actually going to do the research here. It's just a proposal that you're going to make. So I remember when I was doing it, I made a proposal on, let's say, for example, VAT was being introduced, and I wanted to understand what would the impact of VAT be on the consumer behavior. So similarly, if you want to pursue your PhD into something, or you want to learn about something, you need to learn how to make this proposal so you can get a supervisor on board. Second part is more technical. Okay, the first is you do a business simulation. So this is quite fun. Okay, it's for your learning. Whatever you have learned in ACCA, whatever you have learned in your MSc, okay, so far in your life, okay, you actually get the opportunity to apply it in a fictional world. Okay, in a simulated world where you'll be, running an airport as an executive, okay, and you'll have to make decisions about this airport, financial decisions, HR decisions, operational decisions, okay, and it's a healthy competition between different teams, okay, and of course the team that wins, gets rewarded at the end. And in addition to this, you also have to do a final project, which is a business proposal. This is a very good skill for, people who want to pursue career in finance, where you are supposed to make a 5-year business plan. It can be on a business that you have information about, maybe your company, somebody in your family, or let's say something that you want to open up in the future one day. So it's a 5-year business plan in terms of what are you going to do about the finances, what are you going to do about the operations, the HR, the sales, the customers. So it's a very, interactive and interesting project, and it's rated as 70% of, the weightage of the course. So that is your compulsory bit. Then you have 2 elective bits. Now these are, you have to pick 2 electives out of the 4. I'll go through each of the elective modules to help you understand which one would be a better option for you. Now, the first one you have is it's the global issues in finance and accounting. This is something that I personally think is great for, young students who are exploring, and, there are kids, they're 4 and they already know that they're going to be a financial analyst when they turn 30. Okay. But if you're a kid like me that is just like, trying to figure out what you want to do in life, maybe, you want to switch careers later on, GIFP is very good. It talks about a range of different things. First of all, it talks about, what are the major issues that are happening in the finance and accounting world, such as should we have, compulsory accounting standards for corporate social responsibility, similar to what you have for IFRS, or should we keep it as voluntary? It talks about, the impact of global mergers and acquisitions, how the trend works. It talks about, how technology is changing finance. It also talks about, the importance of how banks, play in our life, and, what would happen, if something happens to them, or, they're disrupted, and, how do we regulate them? And without compromising the growth of the economy. So it's a very, diverse topic, I would say, and it's very good for somebody, who's looking to study different things. Then you have analyzing risk for decision making. This is also good for people, if you are a manager and you want to grow in that role. It helps you, look at how do managers or executives make decision. Okay, what are the choices do they have to make? How do they solve problems? And let's say, for example, what are the different risks that are involved in decision making? The next 2, the investment management and capital market, is more for people who are into finance, into analyzing, who want to go into like equity, bond, debt, how does primary, secondary markets work. So this is more from those perspectives, somebody who's planning to pursue CFA in the future. So this is something helpful for them. So you have to complete these 4 small, I would say, sub-electives, okay? And once you complete this, it usually takes about 1 year for you to complete it, and you'll be awarded your MSc degree at the end. Again, it's not, you don't get any exams, it's all project-based, okay? However, you wouldn't know what they're going to ask you. So when the project comes out, from that date, you have like about 1 month to write that project and submit it. And that 1 month is doable. It's not a hectic period of time, even if you're working. Now, in terms of how does the registration work? So you have about 6 months. If you want, you can do the MSc degree, okay? But you have up to 5 years. Let's say, for example, I decide this year that I want to register, I do it, and then a problem occurs and I'm not able to study for the next 2 years. It's fine. I can pause it for a while, and then I can pick it up again and complete my module later on. So you have about 5 years to complete your program. Now, in terms of the fees, like I said, that it is very economical compared to, the other options that are available, okay? So University of London charges about £4,440, which is their own fees, including that Kaplan has a mentoring fees of £1,500, which gives you about almost £5,940, which comes about to almost 29,000 dirhams. Okay, like I said, compared to 150,000 dirhams, it is a lot less. And you don't pay this all together. You only pay 6 months. So you pay it in 2 installments, I would say. Next slide. Now, what are the registration dates? So the registration dates have changed as well. So now the registration periods are April and October. So the April 22 session that's starting, the applications will open on 20th December. So you have to submit an application, okay? There's a small application fee. The fees that I told you, previously includes that application fee. They're basically going to check your, standing with the qualification. Let's say if you're saying you're an ACC member, so they'll just verify. And once your application goes through, okay, then you can decide when you want to pursue the degree. Then you have up until 21st of March to do your registration, that is to pay for a module and decide which module you're going to be pursuing in the next 6 months. And the classes would start about somewhere, I would say, mid-April, okay? And each module, there are 4 modules, right? Each module takes about three months to complete. So you're not doing 2-3 things at the same time, you're doing one module at a time only. So the workload is very manageable. Now, again, October dates are not out yet, okay? But assuming most likely they will be out somewhere in March and May. So if anybody who's planning to pursue it in the next setting. Next slide, W. Okay, yeah, so that is it for the MSc program. If you guys have any questions, happy to answer them. Guys, do we have any questions? Either I was so good that you did not have a question or you all fell asleep. All right, perfect. Minimum time is 6 months, but again, I myself did it in 6 months. So somebody who, you know, if you're very determined and you know that you can do it in 6 months, then, you know, of course, we're happy to support you, but I do not recommend 6 months. The university does not recommend 6 months. Challenging is very underestimating to say. It's very, very hectic. And the problem is that this is not like OBU, this is not like ACCA where you have option of repeating. You only get 2 tries, okay? So I would say better to be safe than sorry and just do it over a year. Would we get an opportunity to complete the second half in London? The issue is that in London, they don't have a teaching center. They have a teaching center in different places. Let's say if you want to go to Singapore, you can transfer there, that's fine. But in London, they don't have a teaching center. However, you will go for graduation. So every March, they have a graduation. Once you complete it, you'll be invited for the graduation in March. Were you working in those 6 months? No, I actually had a job opportunity, but when I started the MSc and I realized that, okay, it needs a lot more work. And remember, I did not have any support. I did this all on my own. I did not know academic writing. This was my first time. So apart from learning the technical content, I had to spend a lot of time learning how to do academic writing. Okay, so as a result, I decided to not pursue that and focus just on this. Yes, it is possible to do this with full-time work. Again, like I said, if you do it over a period of 1 year, it's absolutely manageable. Like I want to do 1 module in April, then I want to do the next in September. Yeah, you can do that, like I said. So let's say, for example, I decide that I want to do something, I want to register for the April sitting, I register, and then I wait, and then maybe next April I can register. So you have that flexibility. You only pay when you register, okay? You don't pay in advance. How many hours does it require? Everybody asked me this question. Again, it depends on you. When I was doing it, I would sit on the laptop for 18 hours, 20 hours a day straight, not do anything. But of course, over the years, it has gotten better. I have seen students who take a whole month to write it, and I have seen students who can produce paper in 2 days. So it depends on you, you know, how fast you learn it. But one thing that I will say definitely I've noticed over the years is that the first project and the second project, there's a huge learning that students get, and they're much faster by the second time. So as you keep doing it more and more, your ability to research, your ability to paraphrase and write in your own words, your ability to reference and, you know, critically analyze things gets better. So the time required goes down slightly a bit. So the Kaplan coaching is one-on-one. Yes. So like I said, the Kaplan mentoring session is basically you will have a blended approach where you have classroom training where whatever technical content is there, everybody will be taught in a class. However, when you start writing your project, okay, you'll have a one-on-one session with the mentor where you'll discuss your project specifically, what you need to change. For ACCA completion, is it normal to take gaps or it won't affect like MSc? I'm sorry, I didn't get that question. Mohammed, is it possible if you can just paraphrase that question a little bit, or maybe you can unmute yourself and you can talk, that's fine.
Hello?
Hi.
Yes. What I meant is it fine to take gaps between the papers of attempting the ACCA, like the one that you're then the masters in London. That's what I meant.
Yeah, you can do that. So like I said that if let's say, for example, you don't want to do it in 1 year, you want to do 6 months and then wait, you can do that. So you have 5 years, okay, of time to complete that. So if you want to wait for like 6 months, 1 year, 1.5 years, it's up to you. It's fine.
All right, thank you.
Okay, any other question, guys? For a period, and then you start doing the project. Those projects are flexible. So how we start is that we will cover all the reason why we don't have a timetable for the MSc. We usually don't give it out few weeks before the actual classes start is because we time ourselves as per the university's timetable. Okay, so we try to cover all the technical bits before the project comes out. Okay, and that means when the project comes out, you have already done the knowledge part. Okay, now you just spend that 1 month writing your project. Okay, and in those when you get your brief as in what you're supposed to do, will give you a structure in terms of what you're supposed to write. Okay, and you follow those structure and you write it according to that, because the university does not provide the structure. They'll just give you a question and they'll be like, write it. And in academic writing, 20 to 25% of your grade is structure based. It's your flow, it's your structure. So that structure is very important. So we provide you that structure and then you write according to that structure. For how long the technical classes are there? Again, so like I said, for each, for overall over 1 year, there are 12 sessions. Okay. However, we divide it differently as per the module. Okay. So let's say, for example, like research report module needs more classes. Okay. Whereas business proposal module does not need as many classes. Okay. So it depends on the module that we are doing. I hope that helps answering your questions. Okay, all clear. Perfect. If we don't have any questions, then again, thank you so much, guys. Willie, do you want to add something?
Just thanks a lot. And if you've got any kind of questions, please feel free to get in touch with our team.
Yeah, so if you have any questions, if you want to talk to me one-on-one about the MSc, feel free to, drop me a line. Feel free to pop in as well and just ask for me. I'll be happy to take you through, what is required and, what any questions you have or any doubts or any concerns, and I can help you out.